It's the Old Doctor Who Show, episode number 150. What are we talking about? Talking about giggles. A lot about giggles. Welcome back. No, Dan, welcome back welcome to. I'm not used to doing these weekly.
Oh wait, this is after dark. I should be drinking.
Yeah, I'm drinking tea, my little peppermint tea.
Are we actually recording for the show now?
Yeah, this is it.
I've
we are
already
back.
hit stop.
We are back after a week. We're here. We've been reviewing all three. I thought there was 3 specials. I guess there's 3 and a Christmas special.
It looks like it's a me based on the
based on
title card.
Titles. At the top of the show, before we get in, I notice a lot of people do this, so I figure I will return the favor to anyone watching this that for some reason is wary of spoilers. We spoil everything.
Yeah,
we do
we're talking about the entire thing.
Whole discussion. This is usually it's a day later that we usually discuss this.
Yeah.
We are both
literally just watched it
on the day. It just came out today. I don't really have any. Sometimes we do our pre-show banter.
Yeah,
which is delightful. It's got us a lot of 5 stars. If you are,
there's so many 5 stars.
I mean, 5 stars out
really
on the podcast. I guess we're in the world of YouTube now.
So give us a.
So you have to give us 3 wokes and
2 QAnons.
Yeah. No. Like and subscribe.
Don't bother. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine.
I would say like our pre-show banter is
We're
recording it at night. You watched this earlier in the day. I literally just finished watching it I'm looking at a watch that's not there, so about 15 minutes ago.
I'll add it in post.
Thank you. Thank goodness. And this is very unusual for us. But yeah, we were both so excited about it that we needed to jump in. Like I was going to
jump in.
I would have ended up like trying to talk to you about it without actually saying anything. And the thing that Eric will always say to me is save it for the podcast. So we just decided, let's just do the podcast, right?
Yeah,
so,
I was pretty much ready as soon as
you were already halfway through.
I was actually ready about like 75% of the way through.
Same here.
Okay, yeah, hit the button.
All right, we'll hit that button.
Shake the crime stick.
Shake the crime stick!
Whatever we're doing these days, and let's go.
Slap the babby.
Whoop.
Doctor, we meet again. The Time Lord and the Toymaker. One final game. It's time.
Eric.
This is the 3rd special, lucky number 3.
Mm-hmm.
This is called The Giggle.
Sure is.
I don't know if you knew that. It's called The Giggle.
I heard that.
It is. I'm going to be looking over to the side of the screen here as I'm reading my notes. This is written by Russell T. Davies.
What?
Davies.
Sure is.
A lot of people don't know it's Ray Davies' younger brother.
No one knows that because it's
like
not
Dave
true,
Davies,
right?
Ray Davies and Russell
T. Davies.
That's why they added the T. It was too confusing. And it was directed by Chanya Button.
First time trying to say it out loud? Okay,
yeah.
very good.
I don't like. Yeah. This is what happens in this episode. Oh my God, what doesn't happen in this episode?
Okay, so let's talk about what doesn't happen in this episode.
Right.
The Doctor doesn't die.
As we. Well, come on. I guess that's it.
But
Good night, everybody. Pretty much covered it. No, it takes place immediately at the end of our last review or the last story.
Well, sort of.
Blue Yonder, the Earth is in chaos. Humans are fighting. The Doctor is in the middle of it. He's trying to figure it out. There's a strange mime type dancing man that he seems to have some relationship with. He's immediately drawn into unit, unto which they figure out his old buddy, his old nemesis, the Celestial Toymaker. I guess he just calls him the Toymaker, and then he says, "We'll be Celestial."
Yeah.
When they do the father and son Luke and Vader bit.
Yep.
And then they go live together. And
happily ever after.
2 of them, no. And then things happen. This is a very...
And then we have a shootie, and that happens, which is
not
great.
Not unlike Wild Blue Yonder, we have a lot of Doctor, a lot of Donna.
A lot of Who.
For a short period of time, it's really just the 2 of them.
Yeah.
In a endless hallway.
Yeah.
Dan, let's just get to it. What did you think?
Eric, I thought you'd never
final
ask.
Special.
I loved this so much.
Oh, you did.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Recency bias is going to be a real problem for me because, like I said, I just watch it. I normally watch them for fans of the old Doctor Who show, I barely watch the one time through. But for the specials for New Who, I tend to watch them twice because there's a lot to pick up on. I literally just watch it, so I'm going to feel like this is the best thing ever until like I would think about it overnight and then watch it again tomorrow, maybe have a different opinion. But having just watched it, I loved it. I have problems with it, but I still love it because of what I said before, that the Doctor didn't die, but I have questions. But overall, it was a really...
I guess save that for the end. Yeah. You don't want to jump into that.
Yeah, so it was a fun story. It felt like a very classic kind of mid-season story for the Doctor from the Russell T Davies era. Like, it didn't feel to me something like... The Sound of the Drums, or some like sort of like big season ender. And this one kind of felt big in scope. And it had, I'm just going to say overall, before I'm going to turn it over to you, I really enjoyed it. One of the main reasons I enjoyed it is there's so much fan service and callbacks, and, it is the 60th anniversary, so it's about time that they really amped that up. And both with on-screen things and like just what's mentioned in dialogue is wonderful. But I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Eric, what did you think of this?
There were one part of it I didn't like. I feel like it runs out of steam in a big way that we'll get to. But other than that one section, I really liked it. Yeah. And as it was going on, I was like, oh, maybe, like I said last time, Wild Blue Yonder was my favorite in so long. And do I like this one more than that? They're very goes different. Up to that line of like too campy.
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
Right, where it's like Neil Patrick Harris is really tiptoeing the line, but overall I feel like it works.
He was the perfect amount of too much.
Yeah, he could have went if he had just like raised an eyebrow a little bit higher. The whole thing would have fell apart.
Yes, it was a house of cards that he was dancing on top of. But yeah,
I felt like he was clearly having fun. Yeah, I enjoyed the story. I mean, I enjoyed all the callbacks and stuff like that. We'll get to the part that I don't like, where I feel like the whole thing, and that's what I would still say I would prefer the last special over this one.
Oh, interesting.
Because I feel like in that one there was no part that was like, fell out. But let's start at the beginning because I feel like most of what we'll talk about is the last.
I think so. 15 minutes, half an hour,
right?
Yeah, the last bit. Okay,
but starting at the beginning, I have a lot of crazy, dumb theories.
I love it. I want to hear your crazy, dumb theories. That are
really, and I know intellectually what it really means, but then I'll tell you how dumb I am and why I'm injecting.
Okay.
Or the way my brain works. So you start. Well, start at the beginning. He lands, and it's complete chaos, right?
Well, no. This story opens up not quite exactly where he left off because it starts in the past. So we're 1925 in Soho, England.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
We have a guy going into Mr. Emporium's toy shop where we meet the toy maker. We have Neil Patrick Harris behind the counter doing, to my ear, a very over-the-top German accent.
Yeah, and intentionally, that's in the dialogue.
It comes later. Yes, it comes.
He said,
initially, though.
He says like you dropped your dialogue
exactly
within that scene,
which is great. I'm glad that happened because I wasn't sure how intentional it was, so I got a little worried, and I was like, Neil Patrick Harris is a pretty good actor. Like I think he knows what he's doing, but what's going on here anyway? So it
felt very much like that show that he does for Netflix, Lemony Snicket.
Oh yes,
where he's Count somebody or other.
Yes.
So anyway, go on.
So we have a guy going in there. He's going to buy a puppet, marionette, whatever figure. That was creepy as hell. I love the production design of the front of the toy store. When we come back later and see the rest of it, it's even better. But like that was super fun. Very ominous. Doogie Howser behind the counter saying, the first game and what was the second game? Well, anyway. Doing all this stuff, a lot of shtick going on. I'm probably going to jam things together and misremember stuff because, like I said, just watched it. So correct me if I'm mistaken any of that. But he does buy the puppet. Doogie says
Stookie Bill, right?
Stookie Bill. So is Stookie Bill a real thing? I didn't actually
a real thing.
Thank you.
That's a real thing.
Because I did not get to look up anything.
Right. That was
genre.
But that's real. I mean, that's the name of the puppet too. So that I like that they took that bit of history and made it into like, the image was hiding behind every image since then. Sure.
Right.
But yeah, no,
okay.
So
we get the guy buying the doll, and Doogie sets it up with like, well, you're gonna leave the wife behind and the kids, and the kids are gonna be crying and all that, which is fun because that comes back later. Yep. So we got that happens. Then what happens, Eric? We watch the broadcast. The head becomes, and all of the puppetry, and I could have spent more time in that shop looking at all the stuff, but yeah, burning, the lights are too hot, so it catches on fire, and the mouth is over. We go right to the title sequence, I think, at that point, right? Yeah, sure. Again,
it comes in, and then we come back out, and this is where I was saying that the episode started, where we're right back where it's complete chaos, and then Unit comes again. Unit very aggressive.
Yeah.
And they're still the good guys.
And
but they're very aggressive. Yep. And then they take them over and they take them to Avengers Tower.
Take them to London's version of the Avengers Tower. There is another like small callback here of them flying the TARDIS by helicopter again.
Yeah, that was cool when they're flying to the tower.
Yeah,
and it's just like
which was from what previous New Who episode where they did the same thing? They were flying around where the Doctor's like actually kind of falling out of it. I can't remember which Doctor it was. But
it sounds like Matt Smith.
Was it David Tennant?
I kind of honestly, it doesn't matter. But I remember like the TARDIS moving with Matt Smith with the doors open, his legs hanging out.
Yeah,
I think that was a thing.
Yeah,
might as well be fishing. But
that's
probably not weird. It doesn't matter.
It's not what I'm talking about. That's okay.
They go to the tower, and then you meet the crew, and then we get
Kate left with Stuart first, which was wonderful. She came up to him, striding up to him, which I really thought was going to go for like the misdirect of a slap across the face, but instead
everybody saw the slap coming.
Grabs him into a big hug, which was really nice to see. Because they mentioned Kate in a previous episode. We do see the scientist again from the previous from the first story of the special. Again, I don't have my notes that have characters' names there, but the chief scientist of Unit, Shirley. Her name was Shirley, right?
Okay.
Because he does a Shirley, you can't be serious joke. So we got them. Then we see Melanie.
Yeah, then we get Mel.
Mel.
I have a memory of knowing that was coming, but
same.
I was surprised
to
see it, And I'm glad that they're bringing back all of the old companions, when they can.
Yeah.
And it's especially important in this one because it fits into the whole idea of that he's not talking about any of his companions,
right?
And like I was a redhead before you, and then when they do that bit with the puppets. And with Amy Pond,
we'll come back. Yes, the redheads,
right? So there's a whole theme of him never slowing down and running through people and using people and sort of discarding people. Not discarding it in a
not
negative
from his
way,
point
but
of view, but yeah,
he's got no time for them, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, it is. I think Yeah.
And I had forgotten, and so she explains a little bit like, what did you do? Like, my husband, he drank himself to death or whatever. It's something.
Right.
Something. And then I took a cab or a space cab home. But I had forgotten, like, that's how they got rid of her.
Yeah.
Right? It was like she
got left
ended up
with
shacking up with
Sabalom
some space barbarian.
Yep.
And I watched a little bit of the end of that. It's Dragonfire, which that's when we switch to Ace. I think that's Ace's first story.
That's right.
And he does like the little nose poke on her, and then we don't see her again.
Because I was trying to remember, but when she came on screen, I was like, "Oh my God, Mel!" I turned to Joe, my partner, who was watching it at the same time with me, and he's like, "Who's that?" I was like, "This is Mel. It's from Classic Who." But I couldn't even remember. I was like, "She was with the seventh Doctor,
Colin Baker,"
but she really was with Colin. She was with Colin. Which is funny because like the companion overshadowed the Doctor for me at that point. It was Colin Baker. But then so she was there when he regenerates into the seventh Doctor, and Ace are there, I believe. At least I looked at it still because I couldn't quite remember when she left, and I think that he was there with Sabalom Glitz or whenever she leaves. I think that's right.
When who leaves?
When Mel leaves. It was Terror of the Vervoids was the one that Sabalom Glitz is in, and is Mel's last, I believe.
I thought it was Dragonfire.
I could do live research while we're doing this, unless you want to.
I literally
look it up. It's fine.
Folks, I think it's Dragonfire. It doesn't matter.
I'm not going to argue about
I'll
it.
just edit this out. If I'm right, I'm going to leave it in.
Sounds good.
So if you're watching this now,
maybe right now there's like a correction at the bottom of the screen. I don't know how much editing Eric wants to do, so that's fine.
It's fine.
Anyway, but I can't remember, and this is if we had waited till tomorrow to do this review, I would have looked it up. But like, what happened to Mel? Like, how does she get back to Earth at this time? Why is she in 2023? Because I don't believe the Doctor left her in 2023. So it's one thing to say that she's been traveling all around the universe in a spaceship. It's a different thing to say that she's been traveling all around the universe and time, because that kind of feels like a Time Lord thing to do, not a Mel and some space Viking. So I don't know. But it's fine. Eric,
all right,
what'd you find?
I'm looking this up because I have to look it up.
Of course you do.
Dragonfire is November 23rd, 1987.
This is so
right?
stupid.
This is the best thing we've ever done.
This is so stupid.
And Terror of the Voivods is 1986.
So which one's later?
87 it would be later.
Are you sure?
87 compared to 86. What's dumb is I literally like took a still from this, so I don't even know. But I'm self-doubting to the point of being crazy. So he's with Mel.
This is the worst.
It's a great scene. He's with Mel, and McCoy, and he does like this point thing on her nose, and then she's like, "I'm going to live with space lunatic."
Yep.
Because he's got like a beard. He looks like he's like the guy that moves amps for Boston.
And
then they leave, and then Ace, I think, is going to leave, and he's like, where are you going? And then he's like, you're with me now. And she does she say aces? I can't remember. She's got like a catchphrase, and she holds the bat over her head, and she's like, aces or whatever.
I think she
and if
said
you watch
Ace.
that, right, sure. You watch some of those things now, and we love Ace. And we love McCoy.
Absolutely.
But when I watch like New Who, and I complain that a scene's like too corny, it's like,
oh,
well.
It's an evolution. We're grading on a scale.
It's just literally in the DNA of the show. But
absolutely.
Yes, she is great. And I remember, for me, I wasn't always a big fan of her.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when they introduced her, and she's like a comedian,
story,
right?
Her first story was her best story, I think. That's when she was like the most. She was most fun.
I can't remember enough. But I felt like she grew on me over time. But I felt like we were a little bit harder on her.
Yeah.
And again, it was the Colin Baker era.
That's the problem.
Not known for being
the best.
The best. But it was good. It was good to see her.
It's not for everyone.
Right. Yeah. And I like how they're all literally UNIT is the dumping ground for anyone.
For
and
all wayward souls.
Yeah. And that's, I think, a Russell T. Davies thing that, like,
funny.
As soon as UNIT's in there, it's like, hey, why don't you make him a...
Well, to your point,
whatever.
They even say that to Donna in this episode, and she negotiates a salary.
Yeah, she gets twice. She doubles her salary. She does a great, take, the way she... Yeah,
she's wonderful.
It was very
Which was super fun. I just want to pause for a second and say, Donna in this story is really taking charge. There is that joke when...
Yeah, she's like super typist.
When the two... Yeah, she's that too. But when the two of them first go back to the first broadcast, so we find out that the signal. You guys have all watched this. Why am I explaining
everybody knows. We don't need to be that.
The giggly thing is happening. It's causing them crazy. They find out that it's embedded in the TV signals. It's every screen forever. Here's the thing. Now is another thing the sonic screwdriver can do. It can just change all the screens to show the giggle.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. So they go back in time. So the scene is the two. Nope. Just let me finish the point. The two of them are confronting the toy maker for the first time, and he's like throwing the balls back and forth, and she grabs it. So he makes the joke of like, I was wondering which one of you had the balls. But I think that's interesting because Donna takes charge throughout the entire episode. When they're trapped in the hallways and running around, and she has the fight with the little dollies as well. She's the one that kind of keeps the Doctor like moving and going forward. She's also the one that calls him out on being burnt out. I think she is so much stronger in these three episodes.
Well, she eventually confesses to having understood what she looks like in the furnace. But I was trying to stop you because before we even entered the building, so we go back to Soho, Doctor and Donna.
Yep.
They walk in front of a place. There's a shot from far away that zooms in, and there's a sign on the wall behind them. And I'm just not ready to let go of my theory.
Give it to me.
That wasn't Newton, and that reality is changing all around, and there's messages and things falling apart. So it said the sign says, "Notice to Carmen, beware of obstructions." Now I know people are probably saying, "Oh, that just means car men driving cars. Beware of obstructions." But not the way my brain works.
Tell me.
I was like, who is named Carmen? Okay, let me look it up. So there's another Russell T Davies story, Planet of the Dead, where there's a character, Carmen, who is that woman. Do you remember? They're in a bus. It's the bus.
Oh, yeah. I like that. That was a great story. I love that story. Yeah.
Very fun story. Very cool.
She was the cat. Whatever. She was like the cat burglar?
No, she's not the cat burglar.
Oh, okay.
Who they're very heavy flirting. I actually rewatched the episode and like they kiss and like so.
She was almost a companion-ish.
She wanted to be a companion.
She did.
And he threw her under the bus and threw her to the police. But then he let her go. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
I'm talking about Carmen. So Carmen was the old lady who's with her husband who's like psychic.
Yeah.
Right. So she sees like all this stuff and she tells a doctor something's coming. Like
that was before Sound of the Drums.
Yes. No, Sound of the Drums was earlier than that, right? This is David Tennant. This is the
my bad.
This is the end of David Tennant. They're basically she foresees his death and she talks about it'll knock 4 times or whatever. But that is the Easter special, and as we know for fans of Jesus, that is the death. Christmas is the next one, which fans of Jesus, that's his birth. So we have a going from the death to the birth and a reference to Carmen and beware of the obstructions. I don't know. It was a lot.
I love it.
But yeah, great. So I'm just holding on to it because I'm like, it's got to be something. Because there really wasn't much payoff for Mavity, right? So the fact that whole Mavity thing, like I still, that has to be connected
maybe
to something.
I had already forgotten about it. It felt so whatever.
I don't know. I'm holding on, and I know this is a stretch, and I know Carmen is probably referring to it, but beware of obstructions.
Someone from England's gonna be like, no, that's exactly what the signs always say.
I understand. Just humor me.
No, I like it.
But the fact that it's a Russell T Davies story, it's another special, Easter, Christmas. I'm just gonna throw it out there because I think that's a great episode. And I had not seen Planet of the Dead, right?
Yes.
The guy from Get Out is in it, and Nope.
Oh yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya. Or
that is him.
I'm getting his name.
You're right.
I totally forgot that he was in it. Anyway, so
good call.
it was fun. But yeah, then you get to the toy maker, and we do that very cool. I liked the endless sort of Scooby-Doo walking in this door, popping out the other door.
Right.
The use of dolls in there was Donna's scene with the doll. That was
wonderful.
Amazing.
Because
the human-headed ventriloquist was a little disturbing.
I liked it at first. Like once you realize as he's unwrapping the guy, once you realize what it is, it's like as an horrifying idea, I'm like, holy crap, that's scary. But then once you actually see
the execution of like David Tennant's head superimposed over it, it lost a little something. The practical. Just the dolls and the babies coming down on Donna from above. I was like, at that point, I was like, I love this.
Yeah.
Especially
like they're all speaking in rhyme and they're crawling up her.
Yes.
And she's like obviously terrified and flinging them. But then she takes control and like she rhymes right back at her and like smashes her head into the wall. Like, great, Donna taking charge. The babbies are like, no, we don't want any of this, and like back away. Super fun. And I love that the endless hallways thing, the Scooby-Doo thing, it felt very practical, even if it probably was mostly digital, but it felt so real. Like the production design, again, beautiful. So some things like that look amazing. And then David's head on a stick looks
that
silly.
Didn't look great.
It's really highs and lows.
The one part that seemed a little odd is Donna's like, this doesn't make any sense. It's bigger. It's literally bigger on the inside. And she mentions a TARDIS, and the doctor's like, he would throw away an idea of a TARDIS, whatever. And then she's like, how could this be? It's like, lady, have you been paying attention to all the things you've done? You've been flying around in a police box. Like, of course it's possible.
Right.
It was a little strange.
It was still funny.
I really wish that we had reviewed the Celestial Toymaker storyline, because I don't know anything about like the mythology or how he was presented, but it sounds like he is like a entity that exists outside of time is it like a Black Guardian, White Guardian? I don't remember. We were talking a little bit offline about the Black Guardians, White Guardians.
Yep.
From what I remember, they existed outside of like Time Lords and Gallifrey, but then did Rassilon invent that? Like, it gets very confusing about.
I can't keep all that straight.
In any case,
it's been too long.
Toymaker is like an entity outside of all of this, right?
Right. So we didn't review that story because, as people who may have listened to our podcast,
it's not.
It doesn't exist.
And missing.
There's like stills. There's been some animation reconstructions, which I actually watched one a while ago. Whenever this was announced, and I was like, "Oof! There's no way we're actually going to watch it." It was really pretty rough. But no, yeah, I mean, he kind of explains in this one that what they call it, looking at my notes off to the side here, good for cameras, the under universe is where he's from. So the whole thing about him being with Donna at the edge of the universe and playing a game, basically like the line of salt, that's what led him into our universe. So yes,
yeah,
he's
like an eternity in the Marvel universe.
Eternal.
Type of,
he's an
yeah. Not eternal, it's eternity. Yeah.
Don't get it mixed up. It's a totally different thing.
It's fine. Yeah. So that whole thing was cool, and I liked. They get separated and they get brought back together.
Well, did you feel like it was going to be a misdirect as well when they got back together so seemingly easily?
Yeah,
it's like,
it was a little bit like we're running out of time. Like all of a sudden,
let's do
we
this.
both have our moments. And now we're together
again. Well, there
was
a lot to do in this 1 hour. I honestly thought it was going to be longer than an hour. I checked at one point to see how much time is left because, the whole thing with the Toymaker hadn't really come to a head yet. And I know there had to be the new Doctor Regeneration coming. Like, I knew there's so much had to happen. So, it felt like, all right, that's fine.
And he knows all about Donna Noble.
Yeah.
Which was like how? I mean, I guess like
because he knows he
knows everything.
Being,
but he was. I don't remember how it ended in the Hartnell storyline, but he lost. They played a game. He lost.
Yep.
Right. So he's outside. He's stuck in wherever. He can't come into our reality until they introduce the salt line in the last special, which because he introduced this thing at the edge of insanity or the edge of the universe, he brings them into our world. So he had just been sitting on that Donna knowledge, or he just like absorbs everything as soon as he comes in here. But he's talking to her by name. Then he puts together that amazing puppet show.
It didn't like ruffle her feathers at all either. Like
no,
she was just
really.
very like, so my name. So what? You could tell she was a little bit scared, but wasn't like
right.
Yeah.
And he knows everything that's happened to the Doctor. He knows all about all of everything. How they. And that part
scene was great.
That part was great. And just the two of them in the chair and just watching the theater presentation. That was a lot of fun.
She goes through Amy Pond and then she dies because she was touched by a weeping angel, but she actually did die at the end of her life. So, okay.
Right. But it was great too.
Bill, the Flux, like all of that.
But each one they'll talk like, oh no, she's still alive, but she's trapped in the last second of her life. Like, and then you realize how absurd. And ridiculous all of it is.
Yes.
And like kind of awful.
Bill's consciousness still exists. It's like in the moment of watching the episode, it's like, okay, well, thank you for at least giving us that. And then you're right. When you take a step back, and maybe it's Russell T Davies doing like a little commentary on it because he's like, look what's happened to the show after. Because it was all stuff after him.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a little bit of like, but on the other hand, like a scene coming right after that is Spice Girls and a dance musical number with shooting guns shooting flowers,
shooting into flowers, and
that's the part when I wrote in my notes was like, he is just enough of too much, and if he had gone any further, the whole thing would have collapsed. But it was that I found that to be a really fun scene.
It was fun, and there's
really
enough
fun.
Like there was enough moments that were like funny or absurd within that it was like sort of saved it from being like. It was just on the edge of me liking it, but I did.
Right,
I did,
you're just
I
on
did
this side of liking it. Yeah,
I did ultimately like it. I love the idea and the visual look of guns shooting flowers. Like visually, it was great.
And then it was like, was it an American Beauty?
The American
reference?
Beauty thing was going on, and then it was like, okay,
so
all right.
It was
and now there's like
weird.
a plastic bag is floating
it's
by.
The most beautiful thing I've ever seen. One thing we didn't talk about.
That movie does not hold up. Yeah,
no,
so what?
It does not. For several reasons. It's really not good. Ask your parents. The whole thing. We should actually we missed something that I think you would have things to say about is the utter chaos that's going on is because why? There's a signal going on that's causing people to what? To believe that everything they say is right, and to only fight and type and cancel and whatever. So it is a really interesting thing as we're getting used to putting things on YouTube and then seeing the suggested playlist of things that show up next to our videos. It's really weird.
Right. It's a bad time. It's
not a great time in this world. I don't know if y'all are aware.
I think that's true across all, and they make a point of saying, like, since we got these screens, like, it's pretty much ruining our life. But yes.
But now we're all connected 100%.
Yeah.
And, all of that. So.
Yeah. So that felt very sort of meta about the situation within Doctor Who, but also within our whole world.
Exactly.
Because the world that we're in now is crumbling.
Right.
And it's only going to get worse.
I can't get better. No.
We literally just surrendered ourselves to algorithms run by corporations who want
which is why you might be watching
stay
this
on
video.
them and keep. We want you to stay on them. We're funneling you through YouTube, which is one of the worst platforms for recommending toxic and hateful material.
So check out the other videos that are right here that you might want to browse. Yeah, no, it was interesting.
Right. And that stuff gets the views. That stuff so it's built into the system that we talked about this before. I don't want to reiterate it, but you can find people that hate Doctor Who now so much they'll make three videos about this show. Because you imagine hating something so much that you would spend that much time. But if you every once in a while we goof, if we could just put go woke, go broke, and just have that, and then
see
the picture of a still and just see what the view count goes up.
It's true.
But it's true though, that because you get the people that believe it, that just want to get that stuff, hit those endorphins for yes, I'm right, and he's proving I'm right, and they watch an episode and I hate it, and I can't wait to hear this guy trash it.
Right.
And then the people that disagree with that watch it because they want to be outraged and respond and and then repost that and add their own commentary on it, and it's just a dumb, horrible cycle. So I think we both agree. I want this place to just be a dumb place that's free of that, because it's literally everywhere, and so we're not. I don't want to add to it.
I mean, especially, I totally agree. But especially with us having done this journey of watching all of the existing, mostly complete serials of classic Doctor Who, we can recognize when something is just not for you. It doesn't mean that it's bad or that you should spend 5 videos hating on it. It's just all right, that wasn't for me. Maybe there was a part of it that was cool, but the rest wasn't. Or I loved it. Everything was great except for this one part, instead of being this one part is the
and you may grow out of a
thing.
You may grow out of if you're a fan of something that was designed for children.
Remember,
and when
this
you
is
were
a children's show.
You got into it, and then it's different now.
Right.
Because there's different children.
You destroyed my childhood.
Right. It's all fine. I don't want to.
That's it.
There's no point in
any
of that.
I only brought it up because it is the message of this story.
That is the message. That's the other thing we could write, the message. Bob Iger, coming out and saying the stuff about the Marvel. Now I haven't seen the Marvels.
Yeah.
Maybe it's terrible. Maybe it's great. Who cares? But Bob Iger, who by the way is the guy that told David Lynch and Mark Frost that he really wanted to know who killed Laura Palmer, and he made them reveal it too early, and David Lynch left the show. So,
I didn't know that. That's why it happened when it happened?
The executive that was pushing that was Bob Iger.
He killed Twin Peaks.
Yeah. Now, in Bob Iger's defense, not that I'm a huge Bob Iger scholar, but he mentions that specifically in his biography and says, I was wrong. David,
thank goodness.
Right.
Okay.
So he at least
Great.
that. But for him to say we needed more executives on these things, or it has to be all about storytelling and not the message or whatever. But it's honestly, you're putting out too much stuff. Maybe stop putting out so much of the same thing. Stop beating the horse over and over. Maybe it was the 100. It doesn't matter. Why are we talking? We're off.
Back to the Bob Iger cast.
Back to the Bob Iger. No.
Okay.
We're at that point. So they're shooting the flowers, and then he disappears.
Yes.
Right.
But then he appears, and he's at the galvanic cannon.
This is where I don't like the show.
Okay.
I feel like as soon as we get not that I don't like it, but I feel
you already
like
said it. It's too late.
the air comes out of the entire sequence. As soon as it gets on the cannon, it feels like it goes on a bit too long. When the Doctor eventually gets laser blast, because everything that happens before that is kind of immaterial. The cannon thing, I mean, it's a lot of the toy maker being the toy maker and doing the same kind of stuff that we've already had. And we just had a dance number, and now he's threatening them with the super space gun.
Yep.
I feel like the tension and like the excitement level just feels slow, and it like doesn't feel like it lands. And then as soon as David Tennant gets laser blasted, I knew he wasn't dying.
I didn't.
The way that they were delivering it, it felt too like clearly this is not how it would go out. It was too fast.
But
everything felt too contrived, and like it was.
But they've done that misdirect before.
I was like, I guarantee nothing's gonna happen. I didn't expect the split.
Of course, sure. There's no way to know that. But
blew me away.
But we knew that it was a regeneration story, or at least we were led to believe it was a regeneration story. And they've already done the misdirect with him dying before. So I was like, this has to be it. And it really, like, in my notes was literally, I just wrote in all caps, not yet, not yet, not yet, because I didn't want him to be gone.
Right. But the way that he got blasted, it was too fast, and it didn't feel like it was going to pay off.
Okay, cool. I'm
happy
like, for you.
He's not.
Because I actually was a complete
you were
sucker.
crying already.
I literally was a little bit like, no, not now. But then, when he does the here we go again, but it was like, it feels different this time. It's like, oh, wait, so yeah, what?
Right.
So what do you think of the bi-generation?
So the bi-generation happens, and honestly, I was just shocked.
Yeah.
For a while, like trying to figure out, and then there's a part, and again, this is on me, not on the story, but then my brain goes into like cynical, awful mode. And I'm like, oh my God, are they just keeping it so they can have like the old Doctor for the old fans, and they're going to have the new Doctor for the new fans, so they could sell you the same thing twice again, and then maybe have like...
I got questions.
And then I had to stop thinking like that, and I was like, well, just let it go. And then it was like a roller coaster for me, because at first I didn't like it. And I was like, I don't like really that they're doing this. I want the new Doctor to be part of the same timeline as everyone else. I don't want... this branching,
this weird branch thing, yeah.
Let's. But then, as we got to the end, and like he had his family, and there's that.
Yes, that payoff.
Once that started happening, I was just like, well, why not do this? Because in the end, it doesn't matter. We've had, how many times is he going to say, I'm not ready, or like, I don't want to go?
I know.
And like, you have all those things, and like, it doesn't have to be death. Excuse me, for every character.
You're right.
He could be sent off to the farm.
Well, but can I just say though?
But they could come back together. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the show is big enough for
anything,
them to merge again and become one person.
Yeah,
right. We don't know what's coming in the next season, so I became good with it, and then actually very excited about it because it isn't like anything we've ever seen.
No,
I want to know. I don't have the cynical part where it's like, oh, they're just let's keep the old fans happy and whatever.
Well, I actually wonder if it will keep the old fans happy or not, but
it won't. Oh, wait,
I mean, no one's gonna be happy.
Certain portion of them will not be happy.
But I mean, so this Doctor, the 10th Doctor, is the luckiest Doctor ever because he has had these moments. Like he's already had an alternate life.
Yes.
That he's already the regenerated hand, is living with Rose in an alternate dimension universe thing. Like that's already happened, and now he doesn't regenerate and die. He gets to be this bi-generational.
Yeah, he gets everything he could ever want.
I mean, he really is the best Doctor. It's clear. I also this is small. This is
New Who, like
of New Who,
Tom Baker comparison. Yeah.
Clearly, you knew what I meant. But like I was watching it, and I went back to catch something, so I turned the subtitles on, and they actually did caption him as the 10th Doctor. I was wondering about that because he came back again. Like, how are they actually?
Right.
Like
I
said, this
number,
is a very,
and at that point,
it's a very small thing. It doesn't matter.
Because
I thought that was funny.
for old classic fans, like it all goes back to like one line someone wrote in like The Deadly Assassin with the number of regenerations the Master was trying to have, and then they just started adding war doctors. I don't know, is that a number or a 0.1? Like I don't even know what any of that stuff.
It doesn't matter.
But it doesn't matter.
I just thought it was interesting. They went ahead and was just like, it's the 10th Doctor, and we're just gonna call him that. It's just easier.
But you're right. I think you raised like a really good point, because he did the debt. Like, you're not going to top his first regeneration ever again.
No.
So you really have no choice if you're bringing David Tennant back then to do something like this.
Right.
You know, because
all I can picture is just like the classic scene of like falling to their knees and like reaching to the heavens. Like, why not? Like, what else? He's already topped.
Yes.
He's hit the emotional high they ever could hit. So this was, it felt when he was, I thought, dying and regenerating, it didn't feel as like, oh, I mean, I guess you can't hit 11. So where are they going to go with it? And then pull them apart, which was cute.
It is fun. Like, and if you look too like deep, like, what's the word I'm looking for? If you like drill down too much into the lore of existing Who, there was always a big deal about the same Doctor being in the same place at the same time.
Right.
It was like you could never do that because it was going to rupture time and space and all this. They split apart and they're like, yeah, this is a theory. It's not supposed to happen, but I guess it happened. And there's no concern about what effect it's going to have on time and space to just have two Doctors that are essentially the same.
Yes.
Right? Because they make a point of the new Doctor saying, I miss Sarah.
Oh,
Sarah
yeah.
They go through that wonderful thing, too, about, like, where they mention Sarah Jane and they mention Adric. They do, like, an Adric thing.
Adric got a full moment. Adric got a full moment. He says, like...
the little boy in the potato sack and the math star.
He was put on trial. He was exiled. The key to time. The devastation of Logopolis. Adric.
And Adric, right. Where he tried to save the planet and just didn't.
He smelled like cheese. Didn't he smell like cheese? Yeah, he smelled like cheese.
He killed all the dinosaurs, right, too? It was like Adric crashing into the earth. So that was cool. But they make a point of saying, like, the new Doctor is still the old Doctor because he remembers those people too. But we also have David Tennant. So I don't think it's going to stay like this forever. Mm-hmm. You know, I hope it doesn't happen in the Christmas special and then he goes back.
Wait, so we didn't look this up. Is there a Christmas special? Because the next one said, like...
Well, it says Destination Christmas.
But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like...
Okay. I assume there would be.
There had been for the longest time.
We could clearly look this up right now.
This is, again, if we had done our research, which we tend to not do, but also when we rush to do an episode, we absolutely don't do it.
What you think about having two?
Oh, well,
right.
I mean,
what was your take?
I just don't know how it's going to work. I loved the family scene in the back garden and having, a supper together was really beautiful. Having Matt, Auntie Mel be there as part of the family is great. I do have a question. Wilf wasn't in that scene.
He wasn't.
So
they make mention of him. They say he was shooting moles. And like he puts a force field around the moles or something.
Like there's so much about Russell T Davies that is goofy in a way that I
and
love.
Also like give the poor vegan girl meat and then it's funny, but not if you're a vegan, you're not going to be too happy.
No,
but I love that, and I like that Mel came with her casserole or whatever, and he's like, "Are you gonna get smashed? You didn't drive, right?" She's like, "Hell no, I didn't drive. I can't stop drinking. My last husband drank himself to death."
That's right.
Remember,
she slipped over a rum bottle.
He slipped over his own empty rum bottle. That poor disaster of a.
It must have been a long time ago because she got over.
There is a Christmas special, Christmas Day, December 25th.
Thank goodness.
Which is Christmas.
So everyone that's shouting at us right now, you can stop. We figured it out.
Yeah, and I'm sure this was common knowledge, but yes, certainly it said Destination Christmas.
But it could.
Why
be
would
anything.
they do?
It could be Christmas in July. Who knows, man? The world's topsy turvy. All right, so we got them.
What do you think of the new Doctor, though?
Hang on.
Oh, okay. We're already at David Tennant eating casserole. I feel like we skipped over.
We skipped around a little bit.
We had finish your thought.
Okay,
and
no.
Then tell me. We'll talk about
my
that
thoughts
last.
are more about other breadcrumbs that have been kind of picked up or seeded, both seeded breadcrumbs and non-seeded. There's a bunch of stuff.
Like notice to Carmen.
Notice to Carmen that everyone caught. Again, that was a quick one.
I
would love
understand
that
it's
to be
the coach.
true.
I understand it's the Carmen.
No.
Probably driving
No.
on the street.
Mm-mm.
Right?
It's Carmen Sandiego. Okay, so what do I think of this new Doctor? I don't know yet. I trust Shudigawa to be amazing. I've only seen him in... I haven't seen the Barbie movie, and I guess he's in that.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen him in Sex Education for whatever it was, 4 seasons, and he was, to me, like the standout character and had a huge, like, character arc that I think really paid off. Love that
I don't know
character.
anything about that show.
You should watch it. It is a really, really funny show. But he is fantastic in that. I'm really looking forward to see what it gets to do, but like any regeneration story, they don't really get to do a whole lot in the beginning. So
he gets a couple of lines. Like there is some,
he got more than most would. In some cases, you only see them regenerate and that's it. But like,
they do a whole TARDIS switch back and forth.
Oh, so the 2 TARDISes too as well.
Yes. Well, that's why it's like when that was happening. This was before we saw David Tennant's family, take him out to the farmhouse. That's when I was like, they're literally just splitting this up so they could keep running the old Doctor Who in books and magazines and audio stuff and like whatever. But you could do that anyway in between. But
that's right. Part of me
is David Tennant going to do more Doctor Who? I don't think so. Like as an actor,
maybe he would do more
a special here and there. But
I actually would rather they didn't in a weird way.
I have a feeling it's all going to come back together because I'm not letting go of the Mavity thing. And everything, and he's gonna have to give up his family.
He's the car man.
Unexist. Like maybe him making the choice to be him caused all this.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it really still doesn't explain like why that old face. I mean,
yeah, they say a nice way.
Like, it was this old face because you're running on fumes and you came to find me in order to find home, which I think was beautiful and it choked me up and I really liked it. And I do like
that was an amazing acting bit between the two of them.
Wonderful.
Just that.
I mean, they're perfect. And I do. Part of me is very much loves that. Oh, Rose and the Doctor snuck off to Mars, and they're going to be in trouble. And like Donna's just kind of like exasperated. And it's like I like that on the one hand because I think it's charming, and I like the scene that it sets. Part of me as a fan that likes lore and I like rules, I'm just like, how's this going to work? And it kind of bugs me in a different way, but I'm happy to go with it because it's a TV show and it's great.
Well, I personally feel next season we find out who the real bad guy is. We don't know who the bad guy is. Not the toy maker.
Here's where we go. This is what I wanted to get to.
Right. What I was going to say is
too late.
Is David Tennant is part of that still.
Right.
And he's going to have to undo himself to fix it.
Right. Which could be great. That could be great. I would like to see a nice send-off there. So we had the 2 things that are connected. The toy maker talks about how he came to the universe and like played all the games with everything, and like he played with the master. The master lost and trapped him in a gold tooth. Then
we didn't even talk about the master.
Then they were like, the thing. Speaking of like letting the air out of the tires a little bit, like you said before, like the whole like we challenge you to a game and he can't resist that, so they're gonna play a game, and the 3 of them are playing catch.
That was awful.
And
I
then
felt like
it's
that's
just like
when it was
he missed the ball. Like there was nothing to it. It was just
that was boring.
It was
like that.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
I lumped that into that like where it felt like it was
totally
deflated. That was like riveting. They're playing ball.
But it was fun to see him like all collapse. Then he says, my legions are well, I liked it visually. I think that visual looked really great. Then my legions are coming. So he leaves that breadcrumb. The gold tooth is left on the ground with the master in it. And then you see the female looking hand with the red fingernails come and pick up the gold, and you hear the laughter in the background. Which is not the giggle laughter. It was just laughter. It's the same as...
Isn't it Missy's?
No, Donna. When the Dr. Donna, she had the ring, and the ring is there, and you see a hand come pick up the ring and take it off screen. It's the exact same setup again.
Right.
So we'll insert shot here, but it is literally, you just see a hand picking up the gold ring in the same, like, coming in from the same side of the screen, picking it up, the same sound effect of the laughter. It is literally the same thing, which never got resolved, as far as I can recall. he had set that up and nothing ever paid off from there because it switched showrunners. So like now is at a time he's like been stewing on this for like whatever it is, 15 years, is like, I'm going to make this damn thing pay off that I laid out before.
Well,
that
that's cool. I did not.
That was
I did
fun.
not connect that to being and now I remember that scene when you described it.
Yeah.
That's cool. But that was also obviously going to happen. Like as soon as he said, I even turned the master into a gold tooth, and it dings. Like, don't forget about this because it's coming back.
But they brought it like right there. Like they brought it back 10 minutes
later.
It
wasn't right. It wasn't like, it was fine. It was interesting. But the ball thing I felt was like, come on.
There could have been a better way to do that. I did like the fact that it was like 2-on-1 and it was like the best out of 3. Like that was fine. Best out of 3. That's funny because there were the 3 of them. But that to end that, like there probably could have been a better thing. But I haven't written a bunch of books and comic books, so what do I know?
No, and then they say that do they refer to him as the boss or whatever? Like in the very beginning when he first meets the toy maker, when the doctor does, and they have that confrontation, he says, doesn't he say something about, is it just referred to as boss or, because so did the Star Beast, to tell whoever.
Says the boss. I thought that, no, I don't remember that. I don't remember the toy maker saying that, but I will probably catch that on a repeated
I thought
viewing.
he did. It could have just been me inferring it somehow, but it was overall, it was good. That would be the bit like that part from when he was on the gun to the ball playing catch, because that was the first game. It's like I like that monologue going all the way back about the ball until he picks up the skull.
Yes, it's the last one. Yeah,
that was very cool.
It was fun to see.
But then it got great. I did like.
How do you think
TARDIS? I forgot I wanted to talk to you about the TARDIS.
Go for it. Oh,
so we go into the TARDIS.
I wondered if it was
but then all of a sudden there's that jukebox. So I imagine he's everywhere he goes, he'll have like a new thing until it's full of stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
Do you think that's how? Or
I
what
like
were you
that.
Gonna say?
Well, I was going to say that in Wild Blue Yonder, when the TARDIS like spit out the fire, I theorized, is it a regeneration thing? So I wondered when the Doctor looks into it and we don't get to see it. In this episode, he looks in and we don't get to see it right away. I wondered if it was the same interior. It turns out it's the same interior. So the TARDIS didn't regenerate into yet another one, which would have been crazy in 3 episodes. But yes, to your point, like it splits into 2 and like the one has the jukebox in it.
I didn't like the jukebox. Like the jukebox was like, all of a sudden when you're talking to turn into an Applebee's, like I don't know, it felt weird to have that like old style classic jukebox. Maybe that's going to be part of his personality, that he likes music in some way. But then I was like, well, it is a big empty place. Maybe it's just going to start filling up.
I do like the idea of
tchotchkes and like weird things about. It's kind of interesting. Like, why a jukebox? Like, is music going to be part of the? Well, because it was sort of in this way, but it was a giggle. But they said music.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know if you have anything to add to the mixture here.
No, I think that's everything. I think it was a satisfying episode. I'm excited to see Shutagawa. The fact that they like split in half and they divvied up clothes was kind of funny. Yeah. So he's like standing around without any pants. Well,
yeah, that was a little
trousers
strange.
On.
Why did he had no pants on?
Not everyone was.
It's already
not everyone's complaining about it. It's fine.
Right. Okay. It's already an uphill battle with some segments of the fandom.
This is true.
And you take the guy's pants off, and he doesn't put them back on.
He does not care, and there's no mention made of it at all. It's just, this is how he rolls. What if the entire season he doesn't wear any?
He may
trousers?
not have pants.
It's fine.
It was very strange. I was like, okay.
It was a fun episode. I'm glad there's going to be another one. I can't wait to see what this Doctor gets to do. I do hope, even if they don't bring back the 10th Doctor and Donna throughout, which I kind of hope they don't, for the sake of this next Doctor, I really want him to have a full thing. Maybe it will come back around, like you said, and wrap up, and that'll be fine. But I would like to see more Rose in it. I know there's a different companion, but I would like to see Rose actually like play a part in the new Doctor.
Original Rose.
No. Sorry,
new Rose.
Donna, Rose Noble. I would like to see Rose Noble. But just because I like the actress and I like the character, but
is she? I was trying to ask my daughter this. Is she known to be on the regular series or only this special?
I don't
or
know
are they keeping that under wraps? Or
I try not to. I don't want spoilers, so I don't look for that stuff.
I've seen promo stills of the new Doctor with someone else.
Yes, I've seen.
So maybe they've already established.
I know there is that
companion,
but there's always been.
But again, I think David Tennant is going to be still in it at the end, and he's going to
there's no reason why it
forever.
couldn't be. No reason why it couldn't
disappear forever. So
yeah.
I would assume Rose would be a part of that storyline.
I hope so. I hope so.
See.
But anyway, no, great story. It's super fun. I hope that people enjoyed this one as much as we did. I'm sure that it's polarizing in a lot of ways.
Since we're winding down, I want to bring it back and ruin the natural momentum and flow. When they do the puppet show of all the companions,
yes.
Do they only do Moffat companions? And did they completely skip over Chibnall?
Oh no, they the Flux.
Well, they just say the Flux. They don't mention the companions. They show planets.
That's true. Bill was Moffat, or
Bill was Moffat, right? That was with Peter Capaldi.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So
right.
So we got Amy. We did what's her name? Clara. We got Bill. Right. Then it was the Flux. Just
didn't have time to make those dolls.
Well, because they didn't have the same sort of endings. Like, he was making the point of, he kills his companions, and then he killed everything kind of with the Flux. So I think it's kind of the biggest deal, but you're right. I wonder how much of that is a little bit of needling each other.
If I was an actor and actress, I'd be like, I wish I had a little marionette made of me. And then I would ask them, can I have it? And then I'd have it on my desk. And,
right. Have a whole caper to go and steal it. Anyway, it was great. I look forward to a Christmas story with
well, I guess we have to come back now on Christmas. Great. I have to break my kids' hearts. We're not opening the presents yet.
Wait till Daddy's done with this podcast.
We're up to 200 views.
It's amazing. Folks, thank you so much for sticking with us on this.
And if you forgive us for everything regardless what he says, give that little thumbs up. Click that thumbs up.
Give it a thumbs up.
That makes a big difference. You hit that subscribe button. I don't know what I'm going to get.
Eric's heart.
You're going to get something.
It gets bigger and bigger. I would say.
Wow, 25th. We got to come back. My wife is going to be mad.
Well, maybe we'll just have your wife and my partner do the episode together.
Do it up.
We'll just go off.
Well, now it's interesting because Casey does not really watch the show, but Joe, you've mentioned him a couple times. Is he a fan?
Yeah, likes it.
He has no choice, really.
We'll often go off into another room. No, but he was absolutely happy to watch it and was into it as well. So I think for even people that aren't obsessives like us, it was still an enjoyable show. Yeah.
Did he see all three? No. And is he into the new series? Oh, he hasn't.
Only watched this one and still enjoyed it. Right. Okay. Yeah, it was fun.
Anyway, watching The Curse. The Curse is great. I want to do a podcast.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't.
Amazing.
We'll just slip that into our YouTube feed as well. And then when the Sandman comes back, we'll slip that in. It's going to be a backdoor.
It's fine. You'll never get rid of it. All right. On that note, let's
thank you, everybody.
Drink the Kool-Aid. Okay. See ya. Good night. Thank you for watching. So what did you think of the story? Let us know in the comments or write us at theOldDoctorWhoShow@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, please let others know about us. Share it on whatever's left of social media these days. If you want to support me, I've got a number of books available for purchase, including On the Island of the Mad Magician. It's available right now on Amazon or wherever fine books are sold. The Wolf and the Well, the sequel to the graphic novel Goblin from Will Perkins and I, was recently announced, and it's available for pre-order today. It really does help a lot. Till next time, be good.
Where's my robot,